The Kremlin's Z-propagandists are unhappy with the protracted war against Ukraine. Against the backdrop of news about the supply of long-range missiles to Ukraine, they are calling on Russian dictator Vladimir Putin to wind down the so-called SVO. The corresponding topic was raised on the air of the propaganda radio station Komsomolskaya Pravda. Z-War correspondent Kirill Fedorov took part in the broadcast and was very alarmed by the news about possible deliveries of American JASSM air missiles to Kiev. The propagandist was so scared that he began to make claims against the Kremlin for its inability to resolve problems peacefully. Now they have found out that they can strike inside Russia. Discussions are underway, which means it will 100% end with a positive result about the transfer of JASSM missiles for the same F-16s. JASSM is not Storm Shadow. Its range is about 1,000 kilometers, and this can already cover St. Petersburg and the Leningrad region in principle, quite easily. It is 100% impossible to shoot down. Wherever they want to strike, they will strike. A difficult situation. And everything is going further in a direction where probably it was not necessary to go. It seems that our ancestors were smarter. Although the Cuban Missile Crisis also went in the wrong direction, but somehow they managed to agree there. Something is going in the wrong direction. Fedorov said. In response, host Ivan Panikin complained that SVO has been going on for too long. He called on Russians to prepare for the worst and not to place their hopes on the new US President Donald Trump. Oreshnik didn't impress them that much. It's better to prepare for the worst. We always say before some grand deliveries that it won't change anything on the battlefield. We have this habit. Then, when we already observe the development of the situation, we often have slightly different impressions of everything that's happening. I'll quote Roman Alekhine, a local Kursk volunteer. It's shaking so much that glasses are falling off the shelves, although it's falling 10 to 20 kilometers from where he lives. Can you imagine the power of the Western aid that Ukraine is receiving? These are serious missiles, and I personally am very worried about the same Kursk, Bryansk and Belgorod, the propagandist said.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenski on Wednesday accused the Georgian government of a shameful push towards dependence on Russia. It is truly shameful what actions they are taking against their own people, said Zelensky. And when Moscow praises these authorities in Georgia, it clearly shows for whom they are now working in Tbilisi and for whom they are dispersing the protests, he added. His comments come following 6 nights of protests in Georgia, triggered by the governing party's decision to suspend negotiations on joining the European Union. The ruling Georgian Dream retained control of parliament in the disputed October 26 election, which was widely seen as a referendum on Georgia's EU aspirations. The opposition and the pro-Western president have accused the governing party of rigging the vote with neighboring Russia's help, something the government and Kremlin have denied, and boycotted parliament sessions. Mass opposition protests sparked by the vote gained new momentum after the governing party's decision on Thursday to put the EU accession talks on hold. During the past 6 nights, riot police used water cannons and tear gas to disperse the demonstrators, who threw fireworks at police officers and built barricades on the Georgian capital's Central Boulevard. More than 300 protesters have been detained since Thursday and over 100 people have been treated for injuries.
В Грузії, звичайно, не лише проблема одного народу. І не тільки нашого регіону, як сьогоднішня влада в Грузії штовхає країну на очевидну залежність від Росії. Це просто ганебно. На які речі вони йдуть зараз проти свого ж народу. І коли в Москві хвалять цю владу в Грузії, це чітко окреслює, на кого вони зараз у Тбілісі працюють і для кого розганяють протести. Точно не для Грузії. Ми готуємо нашу юридичну реакцію та працюємо з європейцями і іншими партнерами щодо конкретних дій. Я доручив підготувати відповідні санкційні рішення. Привітав наших воїнів з Днем ракетних військ і артилерії, вручив державні нагороди, бойові хрести, почесні відзнаки за мужність та відвагу 107-й реактивній артилерійській бригаді, Кременчуцькій бригаді, також 15-й окремій бригаді артилерійської розвідки «Чорний ліс».
The Pentagon is watching fast-moving developments in South Korea and Syria, saying there is no change to U.S. force posture on the Korean peninsula, despite intense turmoil between South Korea's president and lawmakers in parliament. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol's government lifted the martial law he imposed during a tense night of political drama in which troops surrounded parliament and lawmakers voted to reject military rule. Yoon said early Wednesday that his government withdrew military personnel following a bipartisan parliamentary vote rejecting martial law, and the measure was formally lifted during a cabinet meeting around 4:30 a.m. The United States is in close contact with the ROK government to learn more, and is closely monitoring developments, said Pentagon spokesperson Major General Pat Ryder. Ryder also told reporters that U.S. forces conducted a self-defense strike Tuesday in the vicinity of mission support site Euphrates, a U.S. base in eastern Syria, against 3 truck-mounted multiple rocket launchers, AT-64 tank and mortars. Ryder said the U.S. military responded to a clear and imminent threat to U.S. troops. Ryder said the attack was not connected to the offensive that is ongoing in Aleppo, where Syrian jihadi-led rebels have advanced and taken over the country's capital city. The U.S. has about 900 troops in Syria to conduct missions to counter the Islamic State group. In another matter, Ryder provided details on the latest U.S. military aid package to Ukraine, valued at $725 million. This latest package will provide Ukraine significant additional capabilities to meet its most urgent needs, including air defense capabilities, munitions for rocket systems and artillery and anti-tank weapons, Ryder said. The United States will continue to work with our allies and partners to ensure that Ukraine has the security assistance it needs to defend itself from Russian aggression.
All right, well, good afternoon. Secretary Austin and the Department of Defense continue to monitor the developing situation in the Republic of South Korea. The United States is in close contact with the ROK government to learn more and is closely monitoring developments. As we have any updates to provide, we'll be sure to pass them along as appropriate. Everyone, I have a few things to pass along and then we'll get right to your questions. First,
any changes to U.S. force posture with the number of troops we have in?
There have been no changes, to my knowledge.
And have you seen any indications North Korea is poised or trying or willing to take advantage of the situation?
Of course, we're closely monitoring the situation, but I'm not aware of any force posture changes. Warren.
Such an honor. Just a few South Korea questions.